Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome everyone into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. And everyone, I hope that you're doing well and you are ready for today's program because it's a little bit different. It's the very exciting time of year that is, you may have guessed it, CES 2026. There's been a lot of great headlines, a lot of great coverage of that event, and I thought it would be fun to get with our old friends, our old new friends over at Calcopia, and we're going to talk about the show overall, some of the key products that you should probably pay attention to, and just overall, seemed like a fun show. I actually really am sad that I wasn't able to make it out there, or we were able to send anyone out there, but by and large, it gives me hope that 2027 CES is definitely worth going to if CES 2026 has anything to say about it. So with that being said, computeramerica.com, that's where you'll find everything, including links to all products that we're going to talk about, and link to our guest website so that, hey, if you can't seem to find Calcopia, well, type it correctly, first of all. Second of all, come out to Computer America and we'll have a link right there for you that you can just click and go find that coverage as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead, just bring on our guest, and we're going to have a very fun time covering CES 2026. So with that being said, once again, Calcopia, formerly Popzara. It's not really like a rebirth. It's more, it's a thing. So we're going to get into that. But everyone, welcome back onto the program. Nathan Evans, managing editor, and of course, Herman Exum. He also joins us here. He's usually the go-to man for CES coverage, and we're very happy to have them both. And let's start with Nathan. Welcome back.
Man, thank you. And you made a good point about the whole naming thing. So if you're going to name a website, make it easy to spell. Don't use fake letters or ULITs or any of that fancy crap.
Don't name your website like an Elon Musk child. Exactly. And exactly. Welcome, Nathan. And Herman, also want to get you in here. Welcome back. It's been a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Happy to be here. Just scoping things out for what's new and exciting for 2026 in terms of tech. So let's talk about it.
Absolutely. And I think we're going to start with Nathan. And, you usually have a lot to say about the state of industry. You were a very early naysayer, or I guess doomsayer, when it came to things like E3 and other formats that did end up going the way of the dodo. But Nathan, I like your impressions of CES 2026. Was it a success?
Let me clarify. E3 is dead and gone. Ding dong, the witch is dead. But no, you could see that coming a mile away. CES has always been a much better trade show. It's always been more fun, more organized. And Herman, you can attest to this. So much easier to deal with people. So much easier.
I was actually at the last E3. That was in 2019, the last on-site one. And I was present for that.
So CES, way better. And honestly, I might have to overrule you a little bit, Ben, because Herman actually paid a little more attention to some of the big announcements. But I will say this. From what I've seen, like you, I did not attend. I had other engagements this year. But this was a very well program show. This was a very smooth show. The announcements were smooth. It was relatively glitch free. The products, nothing spectacular from what I see, but exactly what you think technology should be. We're in an iterative phase, so you're seeing progression of everything. And I'll just say this, and I'll get back to this later. Let me hand it off to Herman, because Herman, I know you follow this stuff way better than I did. But I'll say this: thank the cookies that it's not just AI. Like, it's there, but there is so much more than just AI. So thank you for that. Thank you. It's a lot of it too, but not as much as I thought it would be
Right.
overall. So, but no, I mean, honestly, Ben, like talk to Herman first because he's got the stuff down on this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing from Herman. I mean, what other than AI, because we are going to talk about that. But what did you feel about CES 2026 as a whole?
As a whole, I got to say, the past 4 or 5 years for CES have been rebuilding years. This also coincides with the emergence and sort of widespread push by companies to promote AI and robotics. But this year was a lot more tangible compared to the previous ones. I think CES is finally getting its footing back. It's finally making that rebound that I wanted, because the last few years I was bored as But yeah, I will say that there does seem to be some sort of I don't want to say rejection of AI, but sort of a pushback, and that pushback was probably for the better, because now we get to focus on more realistic things for the consumer. Not all the show wasn't like that, as we'll go along, but I'll just say that yeah, it was better. It was probably one of the best shows in the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I did notice that for a while there, before the rebuilding phase that you're talking about, CES has always been a trade show, where companies will talk to other companies to make deals and share, kind of strike up deals and whatnot. But for being a consumer electronic show, there's only so much you can hear about, Bosch coming out with smart grid technology, and as fun as it is to have Deere there showing off their new AI controlled tractors, for the consumer it's more fun to hear about display technology and phones and games and devices and weird stuff. But yeah, CES has had to follow the money or go bankrupt. So they have done a lot of big car companies doing amazing automation, whatnot, with self-driving cars, and things that consumers aren't even going to really interface with for another 5-10 years down the road. But no, this show, there was a lot more. I'm sure a lot of people saw, just off the top of my head, with Roomba going bankrupt not too long ago, and now we have other companies stepping into the void, and we saw a robot vacuum that can go upstairs, something quirky like that people can actually, hopefully soon, buy and have in their home. It's fun. CES was fun this year.
Yeah.
By the way, Herman and I were talking about that, Ben, for the show. Like, so many people were on that robotic vacuum cleaner. I think it was a Saros Rover. Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it is.
It's adorable. It's so cute. It's like Wall-E. If Wall-E was like a
yeah, it had these big like spire like legs, but then you're like, oh, okay, so it's gonna kind of walk up, but no, it turned into like tank treads. It was super cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So
I do like that one.
Yeah,
I really
so with that being said, let's shift this a little bit into overall good show, not going anywhere, great. Let's talk about some of the trends, because we could talk about the fact that there was AI there. I'm not saying it wasn't there, but I saw that AI isn't just. I think the last like 2 years, with it being kind of shoved down our throat and being everywhere, it's like, okay, well, it's everywhere now. What do we do with it? One big push there were, and again, we're not talking about specific products yet, but in general, we're talking about trends. We saw AI move into the realm of, okay, here's a robot that will use AI to train itself to ideally fold laundry. That might be overselling it a bit, but it can't really fold laundry. But AI that can learn to do dishes, AI that can learn to do XYZ. So AI and physical AI, products that are actually existing in your home that will use artificial intelligence. What other trends other than AI let's go to Herman. What other trends did you happen to see or take note of?
Yeah, I think that separation is important. The AI that we consumers are getting is more aligned towards robotics. The AI that the companies want, that makes the money, is probably more industrial. So, for instance, and I'm gonna shift away from the consumer part briefly, but the big dogs, the ones that are becoming trillionaire companies like Nvidia, AMD to a smaller extent. Yeah, their keynotes and conferences were dry. Like you couldn't get anything out of them if you're just a regular person. It's pretty much a desert if you're looking for consumer products from them. For instance, I believe that Nvidia spent over an hour and a half talking about its AI developments with their workstations and servers.
Yeah, the only rumor I got out of Nvidia was that they're going to jack up their GPU prices like by double sometime this year. So
Yeah,
yay consumer.
That's been rumored, but what I found interesting out of all that is that we're actually going backwards with Nvidia. We're regressing. I'm not sure if you heard this, but Nvidia is going to re-release their 30 series cards, specifically the 3060, the RTX 3060, because of the demand for AI and these AI companies sucking up all the DRAM and all the GPU tech.
Well,
I thought
personally that's great. It just means that I'm cutting edge, because I have a 4000 series. I am now ahead of the curve once again. So yeah. What's old is new.
And as a matter of fact, during the entire keynote, there was no presentation of consumer products at all. Just to be clear,
yeah.
Which a lot of PC gaming people were pretty snarky about that, which I can kind of understand. But yeah, this is the reality of the situation. Over 89% of Nvidia's income for last year came from industrial AI versus 6% for consumers. So let's get that out of the way. Let's stop the crying and whining. That's the reality of the situation.
I want to add something. Herman, you and I were talking about this before, and Ben, you and I have talked about this before too. That cloud was underlining a lot of what was going on at CES. The idea that 2026 would be a terrible year for PC components because AI is about to suck all the oxygen out of the room. These big data centers are going to require all the silicon in the world, basically. So everything is going to be really expensive. And Herman, you and I were talking about this, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a bad thing for consumers.
Right. I mean, I empathize with consumers, but at the same time, we're talking about, at least for Nvidia, less than $5.5 billion in consumer revenue for actual regular things that we buy on the shelves versus what, $89 billion for industrial and work in AI center work. I mean,
well, it's also a good message, I think, to anybody listening right now that that little feeling you have that you need to have the best thing, like, ooh, I gotta have better frames. No, you don't. Like, you literally don't. Like, what you have is good enough, and you can enjoy it for another year.
To even that point, I'm sure we're going to talk about display technology in a little bit, but just to kind of tease people, there was this product that was announced at CES, and it was the ROG Swift OLED, essentially the first 480 hertz, so 480 hertz, not 240, not 360, but 480 frames per second, or hertz, anyways. That's
talking about the monitor?
That's obscene. Yeah, the monitor. That's obscene, right?
You can't see that. Your eyes can't see that. It's too much.
I think it's mostly going to come down to esports players, though. They really pushed the market for those high refresh and high hertz monitors.
Herman, you've seen those videos of the Japanese Tetris players?
Yeah.
They're just sitting there and they look like they're dead. They don't look like they're moving, but they respond immediately to every brick. But that's
look,
at one point it's going to be 1-to-1.
There's a deep rabbit hole in regards to what your eyes see versus what your response rate is compared to the monitor itself. I don't think we have time to go through all that, but yeah, I mean, monitors, they had a surprisingly good showing this year overall.
Yeah, a lot of good ones.
I saw the return of the big displays. I believe there was there was like a paper thin 9mm something like that display from, I want to say, LG, where they had like an 80-inch super thin small thing, and then I want to say it was Samsung or something like that. Anyways, it was like a 160-inch display. Big displays seem to be back on the menu because, you know, the technology miniaturizing. You don't need what is essentially a jumbotron in your living room anymore to get that big size. Kind of a return to form on that end as well.
I believe that monitor, that Samsung thing you're talking about, that might be that micro RGB TV.
Yes.
That
yes.
That
130-inch, by the way. Yeah.
That huge A thing.
Yes.
But it is. I am looking at the price for. I think what you're referencing. It is $30,000. So
yeah, affordable. See, anyone could get that. Anyone.
Anyone.
But okay, so not so much the price as always with these big expensive things, but more so like just the form factor. You know, it's not. I remember seeing a company 2 or 3 years ago have something of similar size, and it literally involved like an entire installation that someone would have to come to your home. They have to like pre-build everything. This is at least something that you can, you know, if you were strong enough, pick up and set down in your house. So you know, it's a small advancement, you know.
I got to give a caveat. I talked to Herman. I talked to you about this. I talked to another friend about this. There was a lot of videos that came out after Christmas of people buying these mammoth 95-inch TVs that were like super cheap. I think Vizio or O&M, and they had them brought in the house. And there's a reason why your 95-inch TV is like $400, and they just bend them because they're not built very well. And you have this, and the screen breaks because there's no flexibility there. Crack. So be careful when you buy those big things.
Yeah, it's down to economies of scale. I mean, you can have 3 things. I forget the old saying. You can have 2 out of these 3 things, but you can't have them all. So you can either have the performance or the price, or it'll like.
It's like quality, affordability, and you know, actual like viewing or whatever it is.
There it is. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, just to kind of hit that, you mentioned the micro RGB. So OLED used to be the big thing, and then it was micro OLED. I think is still kind of the higher end thing. When it came to kind of just display technology, Herman, you're usually more up to this than I am. Is there any particular technology, be it micro RGB, be it micro LED, that people should pay attention to as far as like a trend goes? What display technology do you think is kind of worth paying attention to at this point?
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Companies have been trying to push the micro RGB shill for the past 3 or 4 CES years. The fact of the matter is that it is still unobtainium to the vast majority of people. That's why Samsung's micro RGB TV is $30,000. I don't see that price changing. But in terms of technology, it is supposed to be the more reliable evolution of OLED, because OLED has issues still, at least according to some consumers. There's still talks of burn-in, premature failure due to the nature of the panel itself. So, it's in that aspect. It was more of the same this year. There's LG, Samsung, Hisense, Sony, you name them. They all had some type of micro RGB TV on display. The only issue is that a lot of those aren't readily available. They're still in the prototype phase, other than the Samsung ones. But
gotcha.
If we're going to talk about OLEDs, that's probably going to be the mainstay for probably the next 5-10 years. That's not going anywhere. Depending on how good your eyes are, that could be a good or a bad thing, or depending on whatever.
Like I say that, but also I noticed that a lot of tech, because I tried to pay attention as much as I could to fitness tech, personal tech, stuff like that. The lack of screens is something that's also happening. Being able to control things with gestures and swipes, and obviously with voice and more intelligent conversational commands, thanks to AI. A lot of at least wearable tech is totally just getting rid of the screen as well.
Well, before we get into that, I do want to point out that if there's one company that is probably the best choice for OLED TVs, it's going to be LG. This year they showed off, they brought back the wallpaper TV. A lot of people, I'm not sure if you two are familiar with it, but they actually had a wallpaper TV back in 2019.
Yeah.
Wireless? Is it wireless? Is it wireless TV?
Yeah, it's wireless.
Yeah.
It's connected through LG's One Connect box, which is actually sort of and LG does this a lot. They actually use, I think, the G series OLEDs as their basis, and then they build and scale up from that to make these bespoke models. So that's why we have the P, which is the transparent TV, the M, which is the original wireless TV that they had, and now we have the wallpaper TV, which is this model is called the W6. So
yeah,
look forward to that.
30,000.
The 2019 one, I think, was the one that they kind of rolled up into the thing, and it would kind of be a flexible, or was
no,
that
that's the R series TV.
Okay.
The one from 2019, confusingly enough, is called the model number is the W7, W9. It makes sense. It makes sense if you look at it by year, because the W6 means it's the wallpaper TV. The 6 means it's 2026 this time.
Do you
So
have
that's
a price
why we have the G6, which is the G 2026 model, etc.
So for the one that they showed here, and if the nice folks are watching on the video portion, they can see we have the website pulled up here, and it's super thin. They have it like kind of resting on like a glass panel. Just kind of show that it can go anywhere. But do we have a price for this? Because these things are usually, not the most affordable as well.
Well, I was able to pull up the 2019 model. Some sites still have that on sale, or at least they have it archived. I think that thing was $8,000. So expect it to creep up in price. It'll probably be $9,000, $10,000. But LG also had their LX variant, which is, by the way, remember, these TVs are built from the G series. They're scaled out to be bespoke. But this LX one is like the wallpaper TV, except it has an actual picture frame to it. So it's meant to be more accommodating to living rooms. So it's more visually appealing, so it doesn't stick out too much. So the W6 and the LX from LG. Those are at least the two TVs I thought made the biggest impression on me this year. There were others, but LGs were the ones for me.
Yep, and it looks like the only one else on my list, and it's just a very quick, just kind of pull this up list, was TCL, the X11L, which boasts about 10,000 peak nits. So that's not what you're always going to get, but ideally, that's a pretty bright screen. That's a very, very bright display. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did see that, but again, LG captured my attention the most. The only other thing in the display field that probably could have did it were projectors, specifically one. It was the AWOL Vision Ethereon. I actually was invited to get a demo, but obviously I wasn't in Las Vegas. But that's supposed to be the next gen laser TV projector. If you're into that type of thing, I am. I'm not sure how many other people are, but is boasting tech that is relatively in line with what you get with current TVs, finally, because projectors have always had this problem where they were always a generation or two behind, sometimes 3 generations behind. So it has all the fun features you want: Dolby Vision, HDR10 plus. It has their top end has 3,300 lumens, so it can be used technically anywhere, all that good stuff. The only problem is it's cheaper, but it's like $5,000. And it's coming out this March.
Yeah, it's that's always been kind of a way to get those bigger screens. Not everyone can get the 130. I understand. Some people are like that. They don't want to spend the $10,000, $30,000. No, projectors still have a place. So
that's why I always have that nervous chuckle when it comes to price, because it's like I want it, but at the same time, I know that the vast majority of people can't afford it. I probably couldn't afford it either. So It always comes with that caveat, as you said.
Yeah. But no, awesome display technology. So, Nathan, were there any other trend? We're going to go from trends,
Oh, yeah.
and then we're kind of doing stand-up
Well,
products already. But yeah,
Well, it's kind of fun. You were talking a little bit about getting rid of screens, and there's this big push to have voice-controlled doodads and gizmos. That's not a mistake. Like there's a huge trend right now. Like again, if you're in the business, you probably saw this coming too, to like put down the phone. And companies are going to take advantage of this because it's become another TikTok type challenge. One of the best-selling books of 2025 was about getting rid of your phone. Just putting it down, and people are feeling the need to sort of disconnect. And so if they can get rid of the screen, they still got you. Like whether it's a watch or a ring or whatever, they're gonna find a way to get you. But you're completely right that AI has massively improved the series and the Cortanas and all that BS. It's massively improved most of them. I know you're a big fan of Gemini, and I think Alexa Plus just got re-released, but I'm not paying for that. But you're right. This was another trend too, when you have wearables, whether again it's a watch or glasses or whatever, that you can now speak much more naturally. Now, Herman, you and I have joked about this before. It makes no sense on a TV, right? It makes no sense on that, but it makes perfect sense if you're like driving or if you're jogging or you're doing something.
Yeah, I think I know where this is going. I think I know where this is going.
But overall, though, you asked me the trend. I think the trend is, for the first time in a long time, we saw AI being applied in useful ways where you actually look, like that could be cool. And and I think it's two things, Ben. I think one, it's voice control, but more importantly, I think the biggest trend was scanning. I think we've all kind of gotten used to this idea over the last year. Like if you go into Sam's Club, your food gets scanned before you leave now. They're putting in AI scanners, facial scanners, this scanners, that scanners. And it used to be, scary, like China, we're gonna spy on you. But I think people have just went, you know who I am. And so, like, for example, I don't have the specifics, but one of my favorite things was the Samsung Family Hub refrigerator. Because again, this is one of those things where you see what it does and you're like, oh, wow, like that makes so much sense. It's a refrigerator that scans your food. Now, it used to be you need a barcode or you need an RFID, but I'm sorry, you didn't get no barcodes on apples. And so like it scans the apple or it scans the product and it knows what the product is. And it says, oh, you're running low on this or you can make this. Yeah, duh, that should have been first.
Yeah,
I did get one of those, and I will just say a couple of 3-4 years ago, we actually did get one of these fridges, and I never really played with that tech, but I will say that it thinks there are strawberries in there that are 1,300 days old. It does think that. So.
Well, I'll say this as a quick aside. I don't know if you saw that not funny for her, but there was that funny story about how the invasiveness of having ads on these smart fridges, which is bad.
Yeah,
and I think there was
point that out.
Yeah, there was this ad for the Apple TV show Pluribus. By the way, best show 2025, no doubt. If you haven't seen Pluribus, watch it. That's not a paid advertising, just great.
Nathan put an ad in my ad talking about ads.
But no, the character in the show is called Carol, and it's all about this gigantic hive mind talking to the girl. And this woman saw an ad for the show. It says, "Hi, Carol," and her name was Carol, and freaked her out. And you have to think about it, though. It's like that's going to happen at some point because that's the whole point of these AI things is to get to know you. So it's not going to be freaky for your refrigerator, for you to have a relationship with your refrigerator.
Well,
that's going to be the crazy thing. And we can talk about the other instances of this. That was a trend too.
I'd call it more data harvesting than getting to know you, though.
That's exactly it. It's data harvesting, but it's fun data harvesting. And I think people they've found a way to steal from you and make you like it. And I think that's what you saw at CES this year, where it's acceptable data harvesting.
It's weird because I think before AI, you had companies that were collecting, 100, 200, many, many, many data points, so much so that you would see these occasional reports be like, oh, we can, just by looking at your search history, we can say, where your kid goes to school, where you work, where you buy your car, where you get gas, where you do this. And they build up these profiles, these people, and they're like, my God, I did not know so much was being, could be inferred from the few data points that I have out there. Now they've turned everything into a data point, but to your point about making it fun, now it can say, you can ask AI and be like, I'm kind of craving Korean, and it'll go, all right, here's all the different Korean places right near you, and here's a coupon. They have made data collection fun because they've made it useful. It feels like
they've worn you down. Like, it's sort of the idea is that we've been told that AI is going to be Terminator and Skynet, and it's going to kill you and it's going to kill everyone you know. But now it's like, no, it's going to teach you how to make a souffle. And and
it's easy to use and fun, and it just works in a lot of cases. And it does not work in a lot of other cases, but that's okay. They're working on it. It's cool.
But I'll say this: my only the other side to this, aside from souffles and spoiled milk, would be I only picked out two. And Herman, if there's more, feel free to chime in. But the two that I saw that really stood out were the Lepro Ami and the Razor Project Ava. And they're both the exact same thing. They look like a fish jar with an AI anime slave. It's an AI companion. Yeah. And if you look at the website for both, they both have the exact same language, but they say it different. Lepro says always on 3D AI soulmate. First of all, what the hell? AI soulmate? And the Razor says 24/7 AI companion.
Sounds like one of those holographic anime waifu things.
That's exactly it. But it's male and female. But then there was another one, and don't bring this up on the show, Ben, because your rating will go up. There's one called, and there's a couple. I usually, let's be honest, let's disclaimer. There's some pornography stuff at CES as well. They call it sex toys, but there's one called the Love Sense AI companion doll, which no pretense. It is what it is. But at the end of the day,
CES, for those who are completely unaware, CES has always had this weird, almost like buddy thing with the adult industry
Vegas.
Because they, not just Vegas, but they also had the adult convention show happening at almost the exact same time in Vegas as well for many years. I think they shifted to another month, but
depending on the timing. Both of those events could happen at the same time, but now you're right. I think they do push the adult entertainment one back at least a month.
But and just from going there, for those who have never been to something like this, a lot, of course they have CES, and I think I saw the numbers. It was like 160,000 people all go to these big convention centers and whatnot. Some companies try to get a more intimate, and I don't know, talking about sex toys and going straight to intimate, but no, they try to have a more intimate kind of feel with the media by renting out suites and hotel rooms. And they'll be like, okay, here's our display, come on in, take pictures, and a much quieter, much more social kind of thing for the media. And that's where these adult products, and some of them were banned from CES a couple of years ago. There was a big controversy about whatever. But anyways, these different rooms will show off this tech, even though it's not explicitly debuting at CES. You can still see it.
And the argument for a lot of this sex tech, if you want to call it that, is it's promotion of health as well. So it's
they all say it should be less taboo because it is a part of people's lives, and this is where technology is playing a part in that. All that aside, for those who are again watching the video portion, we don't have that up, but we do have the Razor Project Ava and the Lepro Amy.
The Razor one's interesting, but it's like if you've ever watched like Blade Runner or any other, like so many other movies, they always have a version of this. It's a giant hologram. You come home, how was your day, honey? Da da da. But like Herman said, it's a waifu thing. It's nothing new. Herman, what's the name of that Japanese fake singer? Hikaru, what is it?
Mitsu, some whatever, yeah.
Mitsu, yeah. Guy married it, right? Guy married a version of it. And so the problem is, it doesn't matter if it looks like a cute anime girl. By the way, I think the Razor one's powered by Grok. So there you go.
Yeah, let's not do that.
It's a spy camera. It looks at what you're doing. And I was joking with my podcast producer, Chris, before this. It's like, it's gonna know all the nasty stuff you're doing when no one's watching, and it's gonna suck so much data. Hopefully the servers get exploded with just the nasty stuff, but it's literally, they're telling you what it is. It's a 24/7 camera that you're putting in your house that records everything you do. They're not even trying to hide it. And there's a sexual component to it. And
the data doesn't belong to you, by the way. It's handled by third party. So
but I want to be clear.
Something to consider as well.
Do you know what else happened this week during CES? I think it was the two companies that had lawsuits going on that where they were being sued because they said their AI chatbots contributed to teenagers killing themselves. They settled this week.
Yeah.
During CES.
Didn't hear that.
Yeah. So it's like, so that's done. And now here we go. And it's the next evolution. It's not on your phone. It's literally like the heads in Futurama. It's like a little fish tank with a digital slave that looks at everything you do and suggests things.
Weird.
And that's what it is.
Even as some, and my wife and I recently bought a robot vacuum, and of course we named it Scruffy after the janitor in Futurama.
Yeah.
I think people, they're bringing these things in. AI is way more conversational. I think that Project Ava, maybe it's maybe not everyone wants a cute anime waifu or a hunky anime, whatever. Maybe they don't want this, but I do think people are going to start personifying and getting that that relationship with their products. And
we've been trained for it, though. We've been trained by we call everything a name, a female name mostly. Unless you're Amazon, then it's Rufus. But it's like Siri, Cortana, Alexa. All these things have names. They're not like bot.
It doesn't feel like a problem though. It feels like the next evolution of just being like, okay, well, instead of these companies trying to make it cool and slick, it's just like, no, you're going to form an attachment, hopefully a very small, just like like I like this product kind of attachment, not like I need to marry my AI kind of attachment. But I don't see really that being a problem. This seems natural.
It's sexier though. Like, what was that movie in the 80s, like Electric Dreams, where the house was an AI bot? Remember? This was after, HAL 9000 from space, not from 2001: Space Odyssey, right? Which, by the way, I want to be clear, that thing killed everybody. But in Electric Dreams, the house was all automated. Yeah. And then the house fell in love with the girl or the guy. I forget which one. It was either guy, girl. The Simpsons made fun of it, had Pierce Brosnan. Very funny. But it's like, so it's either going to kill you or it wants to, wink you. So
there you go.
I think if we had a choice, then you'd probably want the latter. You don't want it to kill you.
So on that note, transitioning a little bit, by the way, how is augmented reality and virtual reality coming along? Has anyone noticed anything, exciting in those fields? Usually CES is when you see, at least a little bit of excitement in those areas. Anything new with AR, VR?
They're still trying, but this time I think they've come to the realization that AR or XR mixed reality has to be more consumer friendly. So what we have here are mixed reality glasses, XR glasses, and Ben, I think you've alluded to that a couple times during this thing. What was that? It was there's a couple of them. That's the thing.
There's a lot.
Well, I remember, Asus and Xreal, they're making XR glasses, but it's mainly for entertainment purposes. So
didn't they show it with Mario Kart?
I think I'm not sure if it's Asus, but I know that Asus and Xreal are supposedly coming out with a companion to the ROG Ally, that Xbox Ally thing, that handheld.
The Xreal R1 glasses?
Yeah. They actually had a couple of them, or it could have been the other company. That's the thing. They're still trying to make these glasses stick with consumers, and the going is pretty slow, at least from my opinion, at least from what I'm seeing. But I
did hear rumor that Google is working on some. They did not announce anything here at CES, but within this year, I've heard rumors that they're going to come out with a new form of Google Glass because they went so well in 2016.
Yeah, and the other company I'm thinking of, because I just pulled it up because I'm dumb, but it's the Ray Neo. They unveiled some, some AR glasses or XR glasses that have HDR10. So their angle is more towards the entertainment side than the workplace side.
Yeah,
which,
the only glasses
which makes
I've
sense.
seen,
It's more approachable.
Yeah, the only glasses I've seen kind of stick around, and I'm not saying like success is probably too strong of a word, but the Snapchat glasses that are out there that kind of and those are more for recording and whatnot. They're not strictly AR, but as far as like cameras and accessories and high technology, as in as glasses, it seems like the Snapchat ones are the only ones that kind of stick around year after year. A lot of the others fall by.
Ben, you know me. I'm not a cynic or anything, but
No.
I am skeptical about VR, as I've told you. Part of it is because no one wants to strap a giant thing to their head all day. AR glasses or smart glasses solve that problem because you're not strapping a giant thing to your head. The problem is that we have to take more cues from those same sci-fi movies that we just talked about with the AI companions. And you have to look at it and say, well, how can I make this useful and not just record people, right? Because that's, I think, the stigma is that everyone thinks you're recording someone and spying on people all the time. So I can make if you
Isn't
look at
so
all the commercials.
weird. We just finished talking about how AI has, harvested so much from us and we've become accustomed to it and we actually enjoy it. And then we're like, yeah, but as soon as you put a camera in someone's face, that gets them uneasy. And it's like,
Well, I think the problem is that you don't know there's a camera. Like, it's one thing to have like some Karen stick their camera in your face as they're shouting at you. It's another thing to be recorded like clandestinely. Like, remember this, Herman, a couple of years ago? There was that thing in Japan where there were so many upskirts videos being taken that in Japan, an iPhone, you cannot disable the clicking sound. Yeah. It has to be in the phone because that it was such a problem.
That's not just for iPhone though. I think that's for all
of them.
At least for the Japanese region.
But, then my top story.
How do we get here?
Well, it is what it is. But I was going to say it's my favorite story is a different type of smart glass. And when I saw it, I told you about this, Herman.
Yeah.
Wow, that makes so much sense to me. My two favorite stories are connected, but I'll start with the glasses. There was one company called IXI, or however you pronounce it. They have glasses that have autofocusing lenses. And see, I wear progressives lens. For those who don't know, progressives are like bifocals with a smear so you can't see the line. And so what happens is I have two different prescriptions. And so if I move my head even a tiny bit, I get dizzy. And anybody who wears bifocals understands this. And I thought and they've been working on trying to, usually with contact lenses, to have, how can we make these lenses different, but no luck. But when I saw these glasses, I said, that makes so much sense. How come we haven't done that? And it's sort of like you always see augmentation like be an implant. Thank you, anime. But this is basically an implant that you wear. And it makes so much sense because everybody wears, we have no problem with glasses. They're the most popular augmentation. This would solve a lot of problems for a lot of people like me and everyone else when you can have glasses that can change depending on the need. And that's amazing. Like to me, that's groundbreaking.
That is one of the parts of CES that you really do miss out on when you don't go in person is, the Eureka Park and these other smaller companies that do accessibility. I was just telling one of my other correspondents that one of my favorite areas is usually which I couldn't go, so I couldn't see it myself, was like early learning and education and high tech when it comes to like toys and whatnot. Like not just the Lego tie-in that they had recently, but just like getting kids to kind of program and work with robots and stuff like that. And accessibility is another big one. I saw a lot of tech to help people, with mobility issues, and you just brought our attention, which you can see on the screen there, of IXI with the focal changing glasses. Cool stuff.
I do want to add to that, but my favorite thing, and frankly, this is I was really sad I didn't get to go and see it myself, but my absolute favorite thing at CES 2026 was the kiosk called iBot. I don't know if you saw this. It's literally a kiosk where you can test your vision and get a prescription on the fly. And for those of you with good eyesight, and I know, Ben, did you have LASIK?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Because remember we talked about that because you had bad vision, I have bad vision. Herman, you have great vision, so you don't count. But
Okay.
when you get an eye test, it's just a refractory test. They just shine light in your eye, and they can use lasers and determine. It really does kind of take the person out of the whole process. And if you look at the iBot, it's amazing. Like that's going to change people's lives as well, because you won't have to go and get an expensive eye
for those who
test.
really can't see it, it looks like very similar to the the Dr. Scholl's, the one that
Exactly.
helped you sell
Right.
shoe inserts, but you just walk up and it'll tell you, oh, you need glasses, and yeah, same idea.
It's supposed to be pretty accurate too. It's like that's the kind of stuff that CES is wonderful for, and you really can't find it anywhere else. You know what I mean? And that's so I thought it was great.
Cool.
I do wonder if we live in a time of a lot of politics. Not to get into it, but
Really?
I do. Yeah, really. I do wonder. There's usually a pretty big presence of smaller startup companies that you will only see at CES during CES. I do wonder how like the Chinese tech industry. I know that for like a lot of the robotics, a lot of it is just Chinese, and they are way ahead. I do wonder how the show fared when it came to foreign companies and displaying at CES. I don't have any numbers. I don't have any inkling to what it may be, but I do wonder foreign tech companies and foreign investment when it comes to CES, how that's been going this year. I don't know.
Oh,
That's
I
a
love
good
that too.
question.
Yeah.
Honestly, with everything going on, I China's still a presence here, but there was some sort of controversy with a lot of Chinese companies this year, and the validity of can't even pronounce it validity of their tech. So in the background, I'm sure there's a lot of squabbling and a lot of infighting, but
Right.
to the average person, I don't think there was much of a shift
Yeah.
from what I could tell.
Yeah, I mean, you really saw it in spaces like webcam security cams, and a couple years ago you saw it in the area of like drones and whatnot, where there was a new drone company every 2 steps when you were at the show.
Well-
I just wonder how those kinds of booths kind of stood up in the past, or if we're seeing a thinning out of that.
And you've been to CES? Did you ever go to what we used to call disparagingly, like it was Herman? We've been there together, Chinatown.
Well, you called
Yep.
it Chinatown. I didn't.
So you go there, and it's literally like you're like on a Hong Kong street where they just ship as many people as they can, and they've recreated like the rickshaw lifestyle, where it's literally just people sitting in chairs. They'd be smoking cigarettes if they could, and they're just shoveling this stuff at you, and it's really cool because you see like stuff you'd find on Temu or iBuy or whatever. But some of it's really cool. It could be a washable keyboard, or it could be a nose trimmer, or whatever. But the problem is, I think what this year is, and I hate using this term, but there's a lot of political, like you said, political and economic uncertainty because of the tariffs and because of importation possibilities. And I think if you're a Chinese small company trying to make some noise, then what's going to be the point if you can't sell your product in the United States at a cost? You see this all the time where shipments are being delayed or even exported. Like you talk about the drones, the Chinese drones are vastly better than the American drones, but they're not permitted to come in here.
Well, I could make an argument and say that if Chinese companies stop coming to CES, I mean, there's always the IFA show in Berlin every September, so they're not completely shut out. So they'll just divert their clientele to other venues. That's all.
They'll find a way. It's but I think ultimately though, Ben, I think the question is, when are we going to see the rise of a Chinese brand that we haven't seen? And like you have Korean brands, and Japanese brands, and German brands, American brands, and people have talked about this for a long time. It's like we still haven't got a Chinese brand other than little things like TCL.
It's been very the American market has been very very much kind of insulated from that. I will say that from other sources of media that I've seen outside the US, we're pretty much already there with Neo and Xiaomi. They're already everywhere else.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if Xiaomi or Neo, breaks into the U.S. market at some point. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but it's,
because some of the
we'll
tech
see.
you just can't get in America. Yeah. Yep. So, with all that being said, just want to focus on one more thing real quick, and that was phones are usually another big, kind of big headline for CES. Was there any interesting phone? Just a quick Google search shows Samsung TriFold was displayed at CES. Anything there?
I am not a fan of these folding phones. You probably know more about it than I do. All I know is that they're very high end, they're very expensive, and some of them actually, if you fold them too hard or too frequently, they can actually, I don't want to use the word explode, but I guess it's an appropriate
Samsung
term.
phones never explode anymore.
Have you seen them?
They're on fire.
They don't pass durability tests at all. And you think for a phone that costs $3,000. And by the way, Ben, you and I have talked about this. Here's a little PSA. If you really want to know if that product you're going to buy is worth it, or if it's going to have a lot of support, look at the price. If it's really expensive, it means the company doesn't have a lot of faith in it. It's a one-off. If it's really cheap or affordable, that means it's going to be around a while. There's a reason why Apple's Vision Pro is like $4,000 instead of like affordable.
Well, I think phones have a different challenge now. I mean, it happened with the PC market already. It's going to be availability of components. I mean, I'm not sure if you know this, but a lot of phone companies say they're going to scale back next year or for the foreseeable future. So phones that have 12 gigs of RAM might end up with 8 or 16 to 8. So they might half it. And CES for me isn't the best place to premiere phones. That would be the Mobile World Congress a few months down the road, like in February or March. So when it comes to phones, for CES, it's mostly for show. It's the wow factor, but the more practical options usually come during the Mobile World Congress for me.
I did see one, Ben, that goes into what we were talking about before about getting off your screen, like a phone that actually it's not a flip phone. It's really ugly though. You have to look it up. It's called the Clicks Communicator. Did you see it?
No. Clicks spelled
CLICK Communicator. It's the ugliest thing you've ever seen. It looks like it was designed in the 70s.
Oh, there was a product last year that really tried to use AI, and it got a lot of buzz, and then it like flopped. It was like the rabbit or something.
The rabbit.
Yeah.
This is like, let's bring back this style. And
This is supposed to be like a BlackBerry keyboard.
Yeah, it's rumored to be the return of BlackBerry. At least some outlets have said that. I'm not sure. I don't know. The prices, according to them, the price for at least one of them is $80. So I'm not sure how much longevity you can get out of a phone that costs $80. I mean, I went cheap, and I'm paying the price for my current phone right now, which is a cheap Motorola phone for old people because it has a pull-out stylus and everything. So we'll see about that.
Well,
there you go.
It's. I mean, honestly, though, Ben, like the world is waiting for Apple to introduce a foldable phone. I don't know if they're going to do it, but the rumor seems likely. So maybe they'll do it, and everyone will suddenly fall in love with foldable phones. I don't know.
I'm surprised at how long Samsung has stuck with the technology, even though they've never gotten the durability right and the price right. They've stuck with it. If it was a Google product, they would have killed it 8 times over by now. So.
I mean, one practical reason Samsung has stuck with the folding phone concept is because they need a flagship. Their previous things we already talked about, their exploding phones, not being able to fly with one. So they've been on a rebound of sorts with exploring new conceptual ideas and stuff like that. So their Fold series of phones they've been trying to carry themselves with that. So if you look at it from that perspective, it makes sense why they keep pursuing it.
Gotcha.
They need something to compete with Apple that Apple doesn't do.
Very true.
But yeah.
So, that seems like I think we hit up a lot of the trends. And don't get me wrong, there are trends. There's a whole mobility sector that we didn't really get to, like usually scooters and segways and stuff like that we didn't really talk about. Cars and automobiles is a whole thing. That's technology that you're going to see in 3 or 4 years in the high-end cars. You'll see at CES first. Are there any other sectors or things that we should kind of talk about before we move on to just, hey, fun products? Because, we need to, kind of tighten this up a little bit.
Yeah, we need to wrap it up.
Yep. So any other sectors before we move on to fun products?
I have one, and I don't know how much we can talk about it, but I'll just say it.
Well, make it fast. Make it
brief. I got 3 words: Lego Smart Play. This was the dominant story coming out of CES in the consumer market because it's Lego, of course. Lego, this is the first time they've ever been to the show. By the way, do you know the first time IKEA has ever been to CES was this year? Crazy.
Did not know that.
Isn't it crazy? But so you're having more of an acceptance of consumer products, but Lego's the most popular toy in the world. It's got a history of dealing with computers. I don't know if you're old enough. I was talking to Herman about this, they had Lego Robotics back on the old Apple II and IBM and Commodore 64. But no, this really got attention. This got mainstream stuff because it's Lego. This is Lego evolving itself. And I was like, makes sense that you have like a mesh system and, just smart bricks and everything. And people seem a little excited about it.
Yeah. So is this like, and obviously, kids of all ages play with Lego, but this is going to be a kid's toy for kids, and it's going to, I guess, have audio files and do things what's it going to do?
I'll try to simplify it for you for pacing. Each compatible Lego piece will have a chip in it or something like that, and when you connect them, they'll respond accordingly. So, in the video, it's on a plane or building a helicopter or something like that. So the person will have a chip in them. The Lego part itself that he's sitting behind has a chip in it, and they'll sort of react with each other to make it more immersive.
That's cool.
And from what I've heard, it's not going to be that much more expensive. I think there's a Star Wars set coming out, or that's already out. The base one is $65, and the Smart Play one is just $5 more.
If you've ever been to
very affordable and accessible for parents, because we all know how expensive Legos can get.
Not for kids. Like, have you seen those kits? They're like $800 sometimes. They're so expensive. That's for dad. That's not for Johnny.
Those are the full sculpture ones that are they're art that you put together. They're fun. You can play with them. Yeah. Okay. So very cool. And again, we'll have a link to all the different products that we talked about here. But I'd say we wrap this up. Let's give like another 5-10 minutes to some of the weird stuff that you again will only see at CES. And I've picked up a couple. I can start. We can just go round robin. I will say that just looking around. I'll just say really, and actually I'm going to do too. Just say it: lollipop star bone conduction candy. So you suck on the piece of candy and it plays music. So
yeah. Does it also vibrate?
Well, no, but maybe, I don't know. But the second one is actually does have vibration, and this was a knife, which seems pretty low tech.
That the Seattle ultrasonic. Yeah, I also had that on my short list too.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that. Cool. 30,000 times a second it will vibrate. It's a ultrasonic chef's knife is what they call it, and it's supposed to make everything just a little bit easier to cut, which I thought you just sharpen your knife and it gets easier, but no, it turns out you just need to put high tech in it. So who knew?
Well, the issue with knives as they are is that a lot of people do not know how to cut properly, and this is supposed to alleviate that, because we all know it's not fun, hitting an artery and gushing blood and running to the hospital. So the Seattle ultrasonic, I think it's called the C-200. Is that what it?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's supposed to alleviate a lot of that. I'm not sure how effective it will be, but it is an interesting concept. So there we go.
The product video looks very cool, and you can see where they kind of like push it up against like a tomato. You can kind of see the mist come off the tomato. Looks cool. $400 for a knife. That is even more expensive than any knife I've ever even dreamed about owning. So
look,
it's different and again fun.
I don't know if you know this, but a complete good knife set can cost well over $1,000.
You know what I want to see?
Probably $2,000.
You remember the commercials where they would show someone with a Ginsu knife? It was always a Japanese guy with a chef hat, and he would always cut like a boot in half and stuff like that. Like, I want to see this thing cutting like workwear, bowling balls. I want to see how it can cut irrelevant things. That will convince me it can cut a tomato. But
it's pretty crazy. So, Herman, we'll let you go next. I'm sorry if I took the steam out of your sails and went out of your sails, but yeah, another one.
It's fine. Two real quick. First is Lenovo's ThinkPad X1 Carbon. It's the 14th gen. Its claim to fame is that it's supposed to be completely repairable. So it's supposed to be user repairable, which means, yeah, I know it's what's old is new again. No, but
I can fix my own stuff.
No, but it's. I mean, that's the point we've gone to now, where the idea of repairing your own computer or upgrading it manually is now a feature. Yeah, I get the snark, but at the same time, it is sort of refreshing to get that type of user control back.
And did I talk to you about this last year? But didn't Lenovo surpass Dell and HP to become, now they're the biggest laptop producer in the world?
I think so, yeah.
Like last year, I think it was, right? So
right.
I have Lenovo.
Yeah.
I think with AI doing what it's doing to the consumer part market, I'm with you, Herman, where it's like you don't know how long you're going to be owning this thing, and having the ability to keep it for longer than 1 year, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So
and I know you're displaying that's the 13th gen, but the 14th gen is coming out probably in the spring or something like that.
That would explain why Google didn't bring one up. So there you go, 13th.
Yeah, and another one, real quick, real fast. The Sony Honda Mobility Afeela car. It's finally coming. It's gonna come out in California not at the end of the year, but late this year for California, and 2027 for Arizona. And it's Sony's all-in-one AI car. And we all know, we've talked about this before, but yeah, it's just supposed to be a lifestyle suite car that does everything Sony and has PlayStation goodies on it and everything. So there you go, another EV for you. Limited availability for the West Coast, though.
Gotcha. No, it looks very slick. And I'm excited to see what Sony can do, because Sony, for a long time has just been phone and console and whatnot, but they could be so much more. So
yeah, it's just finally good to finally see a release date for this thing, since they've been showing it off at CES for the past 3-4 years, maybe. So there you go.
Yeah, looks really cool. Nathan, do you have a product that didn't get a lot of, or did get attention? Didn't? Go ahead.
Well, the first one I have might seem a little strange, but I really like the Birdify Feeder Vista, the AI-powered smart bird feeder. It uses scanning AI technology to identify birds. So we have bird feeders outside our house, and our cats love them. But sometimes you sit back and you feed the bird feeder, especially when you have so many varieties, and you kind of see the appeal. If you've never done it before, watching all the birds show up and identifying the birds, and you get to know the birds. But sometimes you're like, what the hell is that thing? And this thing will help you identify it by using AI scanning technology. And I thought, well, that makes sense. You know what I mean? No privacy for me, no privacy for the birds. But it looks cool. It looks cool, and it's coming, and that's really cool. The other one I think you actually mentioned earlier, but I'll bring it up again. One of my favorite dorky things was the SwitchBot. Did you see this? The laundry robot?
The
SwitchBot Onero H1, which looks a lot like Rosie from the Jetsons, has no feet, and it looks completely dorky. And did you see the video for it where it looks like it's jerking around? And I don't think this thing is running on its own, but it's doing the laundry and it's doing all this, and it's got this sad music playing in the background. It's just like, it looks like life is hell. But look at it. It doesn't look happy at all. It looks depressed.
I've seen those. They look like the monitoring systems that they have in like nursing homes and whatnot, where it's just these kind of cameras on wheels. or even like parking attendants. They'll kind of replace these with those. From what I've heard, by the way, for everyone out there who's kind of curious about these, they have these robots. I've seen two. One is controlled by people remotely that have access to the cameras. Yes.
Yeah.
And then the other one is that they're still training them. They're promising they'll make them better, but they're not that good to start out with. So personalized robots in your home are not really a thing yet, but CES did try to make it seem like it was.
See, I thought Nathan was going to actually bring up the LG Cloyd robot.
Well, there's a couple though. There's a couple, but this video made me laugh though because this robot looks depressed.
Yeah.
Well, its job is to do dishes and laundry. I mean, that's my job, and I can attest.
You look at the way it's doing it; it looks terrible, but it's funny.
Well, I think we're going to see a lot of this moving forward, where they really want to push robotics into the home by any means necessary, short of murdering the owners.
Well, I have a correlate to this because you were talking about Chinese products, right? I don't want to get too much off the topic, but there is a rush to get into this market now because whether you like it or not, the buzz is that Tesla is supposed to be bringing out their Optimus robot soon.
Yeah, the Tesla Optimus.
And you keep seeing this thing, like the Boston Dynamics one, the dog, but they're so fluid. And I'll just say this, if listeners, and Ben, you can do this if you want, but just type in Chinese rave robot. And I don't know if you've seen these things, but these things are the most fluid robots I have ever seen. And they are way more
I saw the one that kicked his researcher in the testicles. I did see that one.
Well, the problem is they have these robots that look like this. They look like robots, but they dress them like Adam Sandler, right? And they're so dorky. Look it up, Chinese rave robots, and they're dancing at K-pop things. They're doing martial arts. They're running down the hill, and they look completely dorky, but they are stable, right? They're stable, and you can't see it. There's so many of these things. They're coming.
The future is now.
Look at that. I want to be able to do that. I can't even do that. No.
Yeah. So all these robots, they're not quite there yet, but clearly you can see the drumbeat is ongoing to have robots do the drudgery and the busy work. But I will say that there was some Robotic Association of America saying that to the point to which people, I think in their minds, kind of imagine someone doing stuff in their home for them, we are years off. We are not, this is not next year or anything like that. We are years off, but
I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. I just think I like the idea of AI and robotics if it's out of the way and not intrusive to my lifestyle or whatever I'm doing.
Yep, and they won't be cheap. I've heard robotic companies kind of saying that it's going to be the aspiration to have a car. It's going to be like that same level where, one day maybe I'll get a nice shiny car. Maybe one day I'll get a nice shiny robot. It will be on that level of purchase. So it's
fair enough.
Yeah, it'll be a thing. So the last one I will say, and then we're going to wrap up here, is I did like this one, Throne 1. It is a camera that you stick onto your toilet. So,
I don't want that. I don't want that in my life.
Of course you do. I've already installed one on your toilet, Herman. So you're welcome. Throne 1. It's
$339.
Yep. Well, yeah, it's on sale. It would be $400. It's an on-toilet sensor, and it tracks gut health, hydration, bathroom habits, see how your stress diet and other affects your body. Yes, it's AI and cameras that you can strap onto your toilet, and it will track your health. So fun.
Who needs OnlyFans?
It does come with a subscription to OnlyFans, whereas you are now on OnlyFans.
By the way, you got to say this. This toilet requires a monthly subscription. Think about that. You now have to subscribe to your toilet.
No, I've never heard this thing.
$6 a month for your toilet.
Christ.
They've monetized the bathroom. But no,
right
it's
there. Yep, that's the camera right there.
See, I'm actually happy you brought this up because I wouldn't have believed it. I mean, I cover tech, but even I think this might be a bit too far.
It even has an app that says how much you're hydrated and your gut health and how you rank among others with your gut health. It's wonderful.
I can feel how hydrated I am. I don't need a camera to tell me that.
In all seriousness, if anyone who's any male who's in their 40s who goes to the doctor, you've probably been told that the the FDA now suggests that you get a colonoscopy before you're 50. Now it used to be 50, now it's 45. Been a huge number of people, again, mostly male, that have gotten colon cancer. And there are tests that are non-invasive that you don't have to, let's just say, be intimate with a machine
Yes.
that can test your waste to see if you have the traits of that could be cancerous. And so I think we have to be very careful here, because on one hand, something like this, Ben, could be very useful to detect if you might need something more invasive. But on the other hand, there's that OCD person out there that's going to overdo it like they always do, and it's going to make them neurotic, and it's going to be way worse. Look, just get yourself a bidet. A bidet will make you feel better.
Outside of my sarcasm and snark and cynicism, yeah, I mean, it does have a use, but I don't know. Yeah, Nathan's right. This could be used for, I don't want to say evil, but stupidity.
I will say this:
over obsessive people.
I don't want.
And then they put the leaderboard in the app, so you do as you do.
But
now you're messing with me.
I guarantee you, though. He goes, let's gamify it. I win. You don't. But no, you have Quest Diagnostics where they give you this giant box and you have to give a sample, and then they come to your house and you know what I mean. This eliminates a lot. Like something like this can eliminate a lot of that stuff.
Right.
And you have this, and you have like the vision kiosk I talked about. This is the use of AI where you're like, kind of see how
it is. It is the democratization of health. And, before you need experts, doctors and stuff like that. And not saying that you don't need those people, but at least the tools that they use, they can kind of start to screen and get to people quicker with the help that they need. So yeah, you're right. It has an actual purpose, but yeah, it's also something that exists and was shown at CES to really show you how crazy of a show that it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and kind of wrap it up there. I can't think of a better way to end CES than on a toilet note. But overall, I want to say thank you so much to Herman, thank you to Nathan, and to Calcopia for, of course, lending your expertise. And for those who have made it this far, I will just say that, if you go and check out Calcopia, you may notice that this segment is also airing over there. So in a tight collaboration, I want to thank you, Herman, and thank you, Nathan. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
No problem. Happy to be here.
Yep, and I hope that next year we're not just doing this over a call, but rather in person. This was a lot of fun, and I want to thank you so much for doing this. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there, play the music in the background, and thank you everyone out there for tuning in to our CES 2026 wrap-up. It was a fun show, a lot of fun products, and next year it will be hopefully more of the same. Or at least newer stuff. So Nathan, we will catch you next time that we have a regular segment. Herman, we need to be less strangers more often. And everyone out there, thank you for tuning in to Computer America. We'll catch you here next time, computeramerica.com, for everything, including a link to Calcopia. And until then, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. See you next time. Thank you again. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.